Well, good evening and welcome to episode number 2 of How to Create Effective Advertising or Stop Wasting Money with Ineffective Advertising. I'm Tim Burt and episode number 2 tonight. Now, when I played back episode number 1, I realized that I had made a horrible mistake, and I left out something very critical to this whole process. And if you remember in episode 1, we talked about the thing that all commercials must have in order to be effective, and that is that they are all rooted in psychology. And I gave the examples of a financial services institution, asking if you were to die tomorrow, would your family be financially secure? Only you know the answer to that, but the key is it got you thinking, would your family be financially secure? So go back and watch that episode if you haven't already, because tonight's episode ties into and adds on to that lesson. So the lesson is psychology. Excuse me. So tonight, here is the formula, which I feel so horrible I did not give you in the last episode. This is the formula, the secret formula that every commercial must have in order to be effective. And it is very simple, and I do want you to write this down, okay? That formula, as I hit my microphone, is this. React plus act equals cha-ching. Now, what do I mean when I say react plus act? Again, tying into psychology. A commercial must get the audience, the listener, the viewer, the reader, to react and then act. That, in turn, will not guarantee a sale, but it certainly increases your odds. React and then act. So if you're an advertiser, if you are a salesperson with clients on the air, if you write your own copy, if you work for an ad agency, I want you to think about the commercials that you have on the air right now. Do they get the listener, the viewer, the reader to react and then act? Remember the financial services example I gave last week. If you were to die tomorrow, would your family be financially secure? Call Citigroup at 1-800-CITIGROUP to find out about estate planning and other tools that you may need. 1-800-CITIGROUP, for example. That could be a 10-second commercial for Citigroup. So is your advertising getting people to react and then act? If it's not, it is time to literally wipe the slate clean and start over. That is the secret formula. Again, if you just joined us, this is the secret formula that every commercial must have. React and then act. This is what it must do in the mind of the consumer. React and then act. Now, if you're in sales and you have clients on the air right now and you're saying, well, gosh, I just can't get a client to stay on the air longer than 2 weeks, a month, sometimes days. It's obviously your job to manage your clients' expectations, because a lot of them, especially in the economy that we're in right now, want immediate results. And I can't blame them. I totally understand that. But by the same token, you must manage their expectations. It depends on the amount of times that their commercial is going to run, their schedule, the frequency, the times that it's actually running. If you're on radio, TV, print, billboards, web, that's kind of 24/7. So that doesn't necessarily apply. That for web, it's more where you are. So I'm going to show you something that I've devised over the years that I've learned and created myself. So what I want you to do is I want you to take a piece of paper and I want you to draw 2 circles on them. Okay, 2 separate individual circles. Could be, in fact, draw a circle on 2 separate sheets of paper. That's going to make this a little easier. And we're going to see if you're a business owner, if you're a ad agency, if you are a salesperson, we're going to see which category your commercials, your advertisers fall into right now. And this is a little thing I devised. It's called In the center of one circle, I want you to write the word fail, F-A-I-L, okay? And then I want you to put a mark, just to draw a little line, at what would be approximately 12 o'clock, one at about 4 o'clock, and one at about 8 o'clock. Okay, so you're going to have a circle with 3 lines on it. And on the outside of that circle, I want you to write the word time and an arrow going around. Let me see if I can, around like this. Okay, so it'll look essentially like this, okay? So that's what your circle of fail is going to look like. Now, this is the power of one bad commercial. When you put on the air one bad commercial, this is what happens. So starting at the top, at the 12 o'clock mark in our circle of fail, what happens? Let's take, for instance, let's say you are an ad agency or a salesperson, excuse me, and you have a client who spent a fairly small amount of money, I don't know, let's say $5,000. And you put them on, it doesn't matter, radio, TV, doesn't matter. And so they produce a commercial that does not get the listener or the viewer to react and act. What happens? Starting at that 12 o'clock mark, that's when the commercial hits the air. You know, for all your Mexican food needs, or something just incredibly lame and ineffective, and doesn't compel anybody to do anything. So what happens? At that 12 o'clock mark, the commercial hits the air, and then you go around to that 4 o'clock mark. Now, when I say time, that could be any length of time. It could be days, it could be a week, could be 2 weeks. And then the salesperson or the ad agency will call back on that client if the client doesn't call them first to tell them that their commercial is not working. And the salesperson will call and say, "Hey, how's it going? You seeing any results yet?" And the business person says, "Nope, I'm not seeing anything." So what does the salesperson or the ad agency do? They immediately panic. Oh God, don't cancel. Just, you got to give it time. Yeah, this is like a plant. You got to water it and you got to let it grow, which is true. You do. But if the message is wrong, it doesn't matter. So at that 4 o'clock mark, the salesperson freaks out. Well, maybe we need to change the commercial. Maybe we need to, make it better. I'll give you some bonus ads, or we'll give you some better times or something like that, right? Just to keep the business. So then we go around a little further and we hit that 8 o'clock mark. What happens then? And that could be days, weeks, probably going to be a smaller amount of time than it was to get to that first mark. Okay. So we hit that 8 o'clock mark. Hey, how's it going? Are you seeing any improvements, any results? Business owner says, nope. Nobody's calling, nobody's going to my website, nobody's coming into my store, nobody's doing anything that we need the commercial to do. Why? Because the commercial is bad. You garbage in, garbage out. So then you get back up closer to that 12 o'clock mark, and at this point, the advertiser has probably canceled, saying it didn't work. And this is when you hear business owners say, "I tried radio and it doesn't work." And to that, I say you're wrong. Because let's take, for instance, I used a bank before. How about a restaurant? If I were going to do a commercial for a restaurant, let's say a steakhouse, Ruth's Chris, and I said, Ruth's Chris ran a commercial and it was just terrible. Didn't get anybody to come into the door. Nobody brought in the coupon. Nobody reacted. Nobody went to the website to print off the coupon. And then when the business owner says, "Well, I tried radio and it doesn't work," to that I would counter and say, "Well, I'll tell you what. I'm going to call back into the station, to the TV station or the radio station, and I'm going to have the newscaster or the person who's on the air right now say, right now at Ruth's Chris, every steak is $1." And the business owner will say, "Well, don't do that." "Well, why not? I thought you said radio or TV doesn't work." when in fact it does work because the message is better. The message is clearer. It's more concise. I would certainly go into Ruth's Chris and get a steak for $1. I don't know about you. So at that point, they cancel. We're back up to the 12 o'clock mark. They cancel, and they tell the salesperson that radio doesn't work. And more importantly, that business owner is going to tell other business owners that radio doesn't work. And when they say radio doesn't work, they're going to say, well, and be sure, I'll tell you what, I'm definitely not going to send you to your station because it definitely doesn't work. And it's a ripple effect. That is the power of one bad commercial. Now, let's go to the other side. Now, you take your other piece of paper, and you have what's called the circle of win. Inside, I want you to write the word W-I-N. Okay? And same thing, same marks, right? It's going to look like this. Okay? So, once you have that jotted down, we're going to go around the horn here. We're going to start at that 12 o'clock mark, right up here. And what's going to happen? Well, you produce a commercial that has an effective, compelling message, something that gets the listener, the viewer, the reader to react and then act. What happens? Well, you go around, you start at that 12 o'clock mark. By the time you get to that 4 o'clock mark, which could be a day, a week, days, weeks, doesn't mean whatever. Salesperson calls. But odds are the business owner is going to call the salesperson or the ad agency and say, "Oh my God, this commercial, I can't keep up. This thing is working like gangbusters." Then what happens? The salesperson says, "Great. You know what? Maybe we'll throw you a couple extra bonus commercials in somewhere." The ad agency says, "Great. Let me see if I can get the stations or the newspaper to run a bonus ad for you or do a feature or something on you." And then you get to the 8 o'clock mark. Again, could be days, could be a week. Then what happens? Salesperson calls back. "Hey, how's it going?" Business owner is ecstatic. I can't keep this product in demand. My traffic has increased 50%. I couldn't be happier. And then the salesperson at that point says, "Well, I'll tell you what, let's talk about a 6-month contract or maybe a year, an annual contract, as opposed to 6 weeks, a month, 2 weeks, whatever." You get back up to 12 o'clock, maybe they renew for the year. Maybe you get a lifelong client. That is the power of one good commercial as opposed to one bad commercial. So again, the circle of fail, the circle of win, I've seen it happen more times than I care to admit. And usually it's more fail. And we will get into the reasons why commercials fail in our next episode. And actually, we're going to do that in the next episode on next Tuesday night. But we're also going to identify what it is that will allow you to enter the circle of win. What is it? What is the secret at this 12 o'clock mark right here? What is it that's going to propel you around that path, around that track? We're going to get into that next time. And if you have any questions in the meantime, if you would like me to help you out with some scripts or whatever you want my take on a commercial that you may think about running, I'm more than happy to help you. You can email me anytime, timburtmedia@gmail.com. That's timburtmedia@gmail.com. And I hope you've enjoyed this. And of course, this is being recorded for playback. So if you weren't able to catch the whole thing live, you can watch it again very shortly in just a few minutes. I'm Tim Burt. Thank you for your time. And I will see you next Tuesday night.